Welcome everybody to Advancing Women in Tourism webinar and podcast series. This is week 7 of week 8, so you are our second last finalist, and I'd like to extend a very big thank you for participating. For those that don't know me, my name is Carolyn and I'm the Managing Director of BTL Gems. I love the tourism industry. I've been in it for the last 40 years and having had my own business consultancy for the last 10. So we have some wonderful, inspiring ladies today from throughout Queensland who will share with you what's happening in their part of the world and their part of the business. So ladies, if you would like to, before I do, once again, I'd like to just introduce Cindy from the Ethical Change Agency. Cindy always looks after all my IT and just ensures things run smoothly. And for the participants that are watching, you know, give us a shout out, let us know where you're from. And as each of the participants have a chat, we're just going to put where your website, people can find some more information about you as well. So we might start in the Whitsundays. Nicole, welcome. Tell us about the beautiful Whitsundays, which apparently is not quite as beautiful as it has been lately, but that's part of
the winter attire on.
The winter attire. That doesn't happen very often in Airlie Beach. So tell us a little bit about you and your product.
So hi everyone, I'm Nicole Graham. My husband and I own and operate 2 vessels in the Whitsundays. We've got Sundowner cruises, and that is basically a sunset vessel. So it's a purpose-built catamaran. We've got a fully licensed bar on board. We do sunset cruises, and we also, probably our main business is private charters and group bookings. So pre-COVID, we were going gangbusters with our private charters. But luckily, you know, we've got a good local following, so that's going well. And our other vessel is Lady Enid Sailing. She's a beautiful 72-foot timber yacht that was built in Sydney in 1960. She's raced in 5 Sydney to Hobart, so she's pretty much in retirement now. And we specialise in adult-only sailing, so we're the only vessel in the Whitsundays that has, it's more of an upmarket product. So we offer beautiful food, our great customer service. We've got basically double the crew to any other vessel with our number of guests on board, and just a great experience out to Whitehaven Beach and snorkeling.
Beautiful. And what's happened with the first week of school holidays?
Look, the vibe in town is really good. You know, I actually went through town just a few days ago, and yeah, there were people around, which was just wonderful to see, where prior to that was pretty much of a ghost town. Obviously, with all the restaurants opening up, the restrictions are still there, but obviously they're lifting, which is fantastic for the region, because a lot of people, they just want to get out, and unfortunately they can't get into restaurants. So that's it's going to be interesting to see how we go this week and next week with those limitations in place.
Well, hopefully there's some good news coming with the announcement from the Premier in the next hour or 2. Thanks, Nicole. Come back to you shortly. Kirsty from the beautiful Windmill Cafe in Bundaberg. I have had some wonderful meals there in the past. So tell us a little bit about yourself and your product.
Yeah, so I'm Kirsty, and me and my partner Joey, we co-own the Windmill Cafe in Bagara, just in Bundaberg. We're lucky that we've got quite a good local following at the Windmill. It's been really key during this whole period of time, but obviously with us being quite a unique building, we do get a good amount of tourists come to us as well. Yeah, so obviously we lost all of those tourists. We lost all our tourism groups back in the beginning, but you know, we've been really focusing on our local customers and really turned our attention to them and how we can, you know, better our business to suit their needs.
So Kirsty, have you, like a lot of others, converted to the takeaway? How were the locals supporting you in the past?
Yeah, so right at the beginning, before we were closed, me and Joey sat down and had a conversation when we actually preempted that it was possible we were going to be closed off for dine-in customers. So we very quickly adapted and changed our business. We changed our menu. We developed a website, because that was something that we didn't actually have prior to this. So we got a website up and running practically overnight. So as customers could see what we had to offer online. And we we created a takeaway menu, and it's been going really well for us. We did change our hours slightly with it being takeaway only. We realised, yes, people do love to have their morning breakfast and lunch, but we don't normally open of an evening time. So we did start opening just on Friday, Saturday and Sunday of an evening to try and really capture that takeaway audience. And we put out a couple of special menus that we don't normally use. So particularly on a Sunday, we felt that it was a time where families couldn't go out and they couldn't enjoy time together where they normally would do. So it was an opportunity to really spend some time as a family at home. So we wanted to create a meal that families could enjoy together, and we came up with a Sunday family roast, you know, and there was a few different options on that menu, but we found it to be really popular. People enjoyed that family time together where they could sit at home, eat that lovely traditional meal, and not necessarily have all those pots and pans to wash up afterwards.
It's a treat for mum, you know, often
yes,
good old families,
definitely.
But mum's the one that's slaving away in a kitchen,
Yeah.
or the husband or partner. But this, you know, what you've just done allowed people to just chill and relax and be.
It did, yeah.
Oh, well done. I'll come back to you, Kirsty. Congratulations on getting that website up so fast too.
Thank you.
Carolyn, hi. Tell us a little about Passchendaele Farm Holidays. Very exciting.
Hello, Carolyn. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to be here with all these other incredible women in tourism. Passchendaele is a property that's been in our family nearly 100 years next year in the one ownership. And so it's a cattle property of over 5,000 acres. And 22 years ago, we implemented the farm stay component.
22
years. So it's 22 years actually on the 4th of July. So it's a good time to have a little celebration. The name Passchendaele came about by my husband's grandfather, who fought in World War I and held the Ridge of Passchendaele under gunfire by himself, and was ordered a military medal of honour. And he returned home and was selected one of these blocks. So the property's gradually grown over there. The idea of having the farm stay 22 odd years ago was because I was travelling 200 plus Ks a day to go to work, and there was a building that was there. So we decided we would move it and renovate it, bring it down closer to where our homestead is. And so that's basically what we've been doing. We are located 70 kilometres from Kingaroy in the South Burnett area. So we are on, you know, partly bitumen and gravel road, but that doesn't deter, you know, any of the guests that we've had over all these years, including quite a lot of international guests as well.
So Carolyn, explain to us all what the experience is. What's the accommodation like? What do people do when they come to your experience?
Okay, so the cottage is, was originally intended to be self-contained, so you can sleep 9 people in the cottage. And but a lot of people, we implement a lot of different things because we can be quite flexible. So they can either do all their own meals, or we can fully host them. Or sometimes, like just previously, we had people where they wanted to do all their night meals. And so that's fine. We can cater for all of that. In the homestead, we can cater for 10 people as far as bedrooms and bathrooms, and quite a large entertainment area as well. So the experiences they have is doing things like milking the cow in the morning, collecting the eggs, feeding the animals, going mustering. Where we were weaning the other week, so you know there's 300 odd calves that they were all amongst. Learning how to crack a whip by my husband Ken. We've got a camp oven dinner that we do on the top of our mountain. So we prep everything here in our licensed kitchen and take it to the top of the mountain, and you can't see another light for 360 degrees other than the stars in the sky. We've got areas where they can with dams and that, where they can put in yabby pots, go fishing. Yeah, there's a myriad of things to do, and people were here 4 or 5 days and still not enough time. And we say come back again and do more things.
That is so nice that people want to get connected back to our land. And as a working cattle station, a lot of the things that you do and take for granted that you have to do, you've got to feed the cattle and you've got to do all the workings of the farm, that people want to connect to that, and it's a beautiful experience. I'll come back to you and have a little chat about what happened with COVID and some of those learnings that you might be able to share and pass on. Thanks, Carolyn. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Sally, congratulations. We were just mentioning before we started this webinar that Sally is the Director of Sales and Marketing of Howard Smith Wharves, which is a fantastic precinct that she'll tell us a little bit more about here in Brisbane. And they recently won the Gold National Award at the Meetings Industry Association for venues of, I think, up to 1,500, was it?
It was 500 to 1,500, yeah. And
also the complex took out, I can't remember the exact term, but upcoming inspiring leader or something. Can you remember the term?
So future leader.
Future leader. Yes, so one of their key staff members that works with Sal. So Sal, tell us a little bit about Howard Smith. Wow, has COVID hit you guys?
Yes, it has. It's been interesting. But yeah, Howard Smith Wharves, it's a lifestyle, entertainment and events precinct right in the heart of Brisbane. So we're located just under the Story Bridge. So it's a heritage precinct that our director and visionary, Adam Flasker, saw great potential and put forward a proposition to develop that into an event and entertainment parklands and event spaces. So it's been a really wonderful journey. I've been with the project for 5 years, come August. So very much the pre-opening team, and we have been, we were operating when COVID stopped us in our tracks. We'd been going about 18 months, and in that first sort of 12 months, we did over 1,000 events. So I primarily look after the events business in terms of sales in that space and the event planners. So it was a big first year, and yeah, very, very sharp halt in March. So for the precinct, but I guess other parts of the precinct, we have Felons Brewing Co. So we've got a wonderful craft brewery. We have Mr. Percival's lovely cocktail bar, a range of beautiful restaurants, Stanley, Greco and Yoko, as well as the Fantuzo Hotel, parklands and amazing spaces. So really a lovely precinct that brings Brisbane as a community down to celebrate, great food, great wine and great friends. And yeah, just be nice and outside.
I just think it's one of the most spectacular views of Brisbane. Often being on the river, people can look at the river from the height of one of the tall buildings down, but where you're situated underneath the Story Bridge, you have that magnificent view of, particularly at night, of the city being lit up. It is just truly a spectacular location, and being again right on the bend of the river, you get both sides, which is truly beautiful.
Yeah,
1,000 events, Sally. My goodness.
In the first 12 months, yes.
Your team must have been exhausted.
They were.
So, yeah. I mean, at any one time, how many events can you have going, or could you have had going?
We could have like 8 to 10 probably events at any one time occurring. Just depends. The spaces are all multi-use and can be split. So, and we have quite a few of them. So from anything from sort of 10 right up to, 1,500. So quite a range.
Wow. Yeah. No, congratulations. And as you said, I'm just waiting for Kirsty to come back on. When COVID hit, it really hit your venue, because you are all about, gathering and tend to be large size gatherings too. Yeah. So what happened? Did you mothball the place? What was the process that you had to go when COVID hit from a operational point of view and staffing point of view?
Yeah, I guess it started for us pretty much in January, because we have some incentive business from international. So as soon as the activity started, we lost a few events, Chinese New Year events and the like, that started dropping sort of January and February. By March, things had definitely escalated. So when the decision on mass gatherings over 500, we had a lot of postponing and cancellation, and then it went quickly to 100, and then it was all together. So it was sort of a bit of a, very much a roller coaster. Phones were ringing. It was all sorts of crazy. If we don't have to do that again in our lifetimes, I'll be quite happy. We had hundreds of events that we ended up having to move from their original dates to try and work with them to postpone. But you had circumstances where clients were overseas, so it was a whole process we had to go through. So because there was such an influx of people trying to contact, we really had to basically like a triage. So events that were occurring earlier got attention first, and so forth. So just to work through it. So we identified a risk period, which to us at that point we thought might be till September. And we pretty much tried to clients and work through shifting them to later dates and work that they were looked after.
What we're talking about with a complex and a precinct as large as yours is so complex. So I'm going to come back to you and just ask a little bit more about the process. I appreciate what you were saying about the triage. I thought that was really interesting because you had so many events and it was so complex. And I'd love to hear from a staffing point of view. I'll come back a bit because, I mean, that's a lot of people that were employed in that complex. So what's happening around then? So thanks, Nicole. Beautiful. Steph from gorgeous Magnetic Island.
Any place. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yep, keep talking. And
everyone, welcome. It's just so special to be part of an amazing group of women. So thank you for including me. Firstly, if I was ever going to be in lockdown in any place, Magnetic Island was the place to be. Seriously, I live in an amazing place. So, I'm from Aquascene Charters. My husband, Adam, and myself, we've lived on Magnetic Island for over 35 years. We started Aquascene 15 years ago, creating what we felt we connect really well with people. So what we wanted to do, Aquascene was born out of wanting to share our beautiful island home with guests that visit Magnetic Island. So we have tours that run around Magnetic Island, snorkeling, sightseeing, history, stories, connecting our guests with Magnetic Island through the eyes of us, I guess, real people connecting people with our home. And we have really small personalised tours. So our boat can take up to 24 guests, but we try to cap at about 18 guests on our tours. So we give everyone a real personalised experience. We have so much that Magnetic Island is about, and it's just so awesome to share what we love about Maggie with our guests. And it's been really tough to stop and not be able to go out on the boat and do what we love to do.
so Steph, how old is the business? When did you start? Sorry.
So we started, it's about 15 years now.
Wow.
Yeah. We started very small. Our first boat would take 8 guests out on board, and we found that a few families wanting to go together, it wasn't quite working. So we searched high and low for the boat that we wanted to be able to do for what we do around Magnetic Island, to be able to access all those beautiful bays and beaches. Magnetic Island has 28 bays, 23 beaches. It's a beautiful paradise. So we wanted to be able to have a boat that could cater for all ages, all abilities, all comfort levels, and to be able to really access all those beautiful places that you can't access on your own, really.
Yeah, I was fortunate enough to spend 6 years in Townsville. So I visited Maggie and those beautiful bays and beaches. And boy, when you have had a crazy time and you just want to relax and chill, you know, sitting on one of those beautiful bays with the beautiful big boulders and the trees. It really is quite spectacular. Thanks, Steph, for introducing. I'm going to come back to you at the end, and just, I'd love to hear your COVID experience as well. You know, any learnings that you've had, and as we've started to come out it, and looking at what's going to happen into the future. So thank you.
Thanks.
Nicole, I just checked that I wasn't on mute. You were mentioning your product was very big for private charters. So what was your target market initially?
So basically, with Sundowner, we're in survey for 48 guests. So we're a purpose-built catamaran. It's got a full roof on board. It is literally a floating little venue. So our target markets for private charters, we did a lot of things. We did everything from your hens and bucks parties to your pre-wedding get-togethers, which was a really big market of ours when people obviously come to the destination weddings. They all come on board just to meet everyone, and icebreakers and whatnot. We did a few corporates and birthday parties. I think our last day we had 3 back-to-back parties, the 30th, the 50th, and another party. So that's our big ticket items. With our sunset cruises, you know, it's great when you have our sunset cruises, people come on board and we just plant that little idea, you know, we do a lot of group parties and things like that. So word of mouth. We've got an amazing local following. So thankfully for us, we've been able to operate Sundowner the last few weeks, and we've been going out every day. The numbers have been, you know, up and down, but that's okay. And I think we've put a few local specials on. Now with the actual opening up with the restrictions with family gatherings, we've sort of offered midweek free kids. So, you know, a little family can go on each part. So already tomorrow night we've got 20 people on board.
Fabulous.
So, yeah, we're doing mates rates locally. So that's been going really well for us. Yeah.
And how are the locals? What's the form of communication and marketing? Is it your social media?
Definitely social media. We've been pumping the social media. And I think obviously with the distribution channels at the moment, I think a lot of us will be focusing on those. The way to communicate to our guests direct, and obviously to try to push those direct bookings. So we'll definitely we're focusing on that, and just reminiscing about our few parties. And we've already had, you know, I've already got 4 group bookings and private charters booked in over the last couple of weeks. So that's been going really well.
It's so good to hear that, you know, finally with the opening up, you're starting seeing guests again. You're starting doing what you love to do, be out on the water and entertain and showcase that beautiful Whitsunday.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what's been one of the hardest things for you to cope with during this COVID, or what would be one of your key learnings out of all of this?
I think for my husband and I, we've actually enjoyed COVID. We've enjoyed the isolation just for a break. We've been going just non-stop. So we've selfishly taken our yacht out a few times with the kids. And we've had a great time there, and it's really given us an opportunity to focus and like all of us, you start just working in it, not on it. So that's given us an opportunity to really rethink about what we want to do, and I think we're really lucky with our vessels because we do have quite unique vessels. You know, the Sundowner vessel there's nothing like it in the region in regards to its the physical build of it. And with our yacht Lady Enid, we won't actually be operating Enid until September. We've decided to wait until the Sydney and Victoria markets open up, purely because it is high-end. We do sell it as a barefoot luxury experience. So it is that, you know, we're not targeting, obviously, families. It's purely just for couples. And our market was 80% international. So we need those high-end you know, people that want those experiences. And obviously we're very lucky that those people that would have travelled overseas are now going to be travelling within Australia. So we've got to really target them, and we've got to work out ways of how we're going to target them. We also have we have a licence to operate on Hamilton Island with private charters. So we'll also be focusing on that with Lady Enid as well.
And I think 2 things there. One, about being selfish. I don't think you should feel selfish that you took this time to be with family. I think it was very positive that you identified, I can't physically do anything about this external thing that is happening. let's concentrate on the most important people in your life, which is your family. So I think that's really important. The other thing that you were mentioning was, you know, in the Whitsundays particularly, and it's with most region, is that collaboration and partnership. So, you know, identifying, like you just said then, the Hamilton Island experience, who else has a similar customer? You were mentioning your high-end customer, going to them and working out how you can, you know, value add each other. So that's a very clever way of moving forward. Yeah,
absolutely. And I think with the Whitsundays, we've got a different challenge where obviously we've got a lot of overnight backpacker boats, or just overnight boats that just did 2 night, you know, 2-day kind of trips, and they're all converting their businesses to day tours. So we've got this big challenge in the region where we're going to have all these additional day tours, and obviously less customers. Yeah, so it's that's going to be a challenge. And again, we're thankful that Lady Enid, you know, we've got a niche market. It's not just broad open up to anyone. So hopefully that'll keep us, and I think it will definitely, because we do have, you know, we have a great reputation out there for that product. And I've actually just contacted Getaway, and they're going to re-show they did a program a couple of years ago, and they're going to re-show that in about 6 weeks.
Great.
So perfect timing for us. And then once that shows, we'll just flog that through our social media channels and just get that going again for the Sydney and Melbourne markets. Hopefully the borders will be open then, and we'll all be good.
No, well, you're being very strategic, so congratulations. And hopefully the Whitsundays, as people start to drive up north, all the destinations will benefit from Queenslanders doing Queensland, and hopefully New South Wales. Yes. Maybe not quite Victorians quite yet, but hopefully very soon. Thanks, Nicole. All the best. Kirsty in Bundaberg. Hello again.
Hi.
You gave us a really fabulous insight in some of the great initiatives that you did. You know, you looked from a restaurant point of view of how you could service your customers. You opened up times that you didn't normally, because you knew it would be important to locals to be able to activate dinners, because they wanted to support locals, didn't they?
They really did. That's one thing that we've found throughout all of this, is that the local support has just been absolutely fantastic. You know, they've been popping in, and even if it's for a coffee, or whether it be to take something away, they've just been there day in, day out and showing their support, and it's been great at keeping us positive.
Fantastic. And what about staff? Did you have other staff? Were you able to keep them on, or is it just you and your husband running it nowadays?
So initially we did have to stand some of our staff down. I stepped into front of house, which is not something that I would normally do. And luckily Joey's a trained chef, so he stepped into the kitchen. But that was only for a short period of time when we really didn't know what was going to happen, and we were just really trying to, you know, cover all bases until we knew a little bit more information. And then of course when JobKeepers was introduced, that was a real gift for us. We were able to bring back all our staff, and most of them were eligible, which was fantastic, and get everybody working again. And you know, the community were happy to see all of our team again, because we're very well known for our customer service. You know, they love our staff. They're a part of us. So that was a real big bonus, was getting that JobKeepers and getting those staff back on board.
In a smaller community, it's just so important, that engagement of staff, and they are a fantastic ambassador for you. I know that you've got a great reputation. If anyone was bringing any tours around to your region, I know that your name was, that, you know, the name of the Windmill Cafe was generally always put up as, you know, if you're looking for some fantastic food, or not just the food, but the experience that you create at the restaurant is really important. So what's probably one of the key takeaways that you've experienced now due to COVID, and maybe moving forward?
I think one of the key things is, you know, yes, it was potentially a dire situation, but for me, it was to really just try and find the positive in it. You know, where we're open 7 days a week and we're normally busy and bustling with customers, take the opportunity to do something that you couldn't normally do. So, you know, for us, we did renovations. We renovated the actual building and recladded all of the windmill, and we upgraded the gardens, did the decks, you know, touched up some painting, that kind of thing. And another area was to just listen to the community and see what they want. And, you know, they supported us so well throughout this. So to see what can we do to kind of pay them back. So, you know, we found that everybody was missing a coffee. They were missing their breakfast, but a lot of people, they were also missing going out with friends and enjoying a glass of wine or, you know, a beer or two. So one thing that we've took from this is we are in the process of obtaining our liquor license. And part of the renovations that we're doing, we are putting in a new bar area as well as a new gelato display area. So hopefully that's one little gift that we can give to the community.
I love that. It's not just a product or a service you've introduced, it's actually a gift.
Yeah.
So we've got ice cream and wine coming very soon.
What more could you ask for, hey?
It sounds wonderful. Oh, well, thank you very much, Kirsty. You're a real inspiration. It's wonderful to hear from you. Carolyn, from a farm stay point of view, how has COVID affected you? You know, obviously from the guests coming and staying, but has anything else affected you from the farm point of view, whether it's staffing or?
Well, my husband Ken and I run the whole property and the farm stay component. So we do all the cooking, all the cleaning,
wow,
the maintenance, schedule, everything. So I suppose we were a bit like Kirsty in the fact that, well, the property just kept running. So when you're in agriculture, nothing, you know, it's going to keep running. That's just how it is. And we did a lot of our maintenance, like we usually do our maintenance in November, December, because summer's not an ideal time for that component of people coming to the bush because it's so hot. They tend to go to the coast and to the Whitsundays, which is fantastic. And so we did upgrades on our cottage. We've got a slab memorabilia shed that it's like work in progress all the time. All our gardens, we were, you know, built new gardens, and I mean, it was just an opportunity for us to do a catch up actually on lots of things. And I suppose we still had some essential workers staying here because they were doing a big agriculture water project. So that was a bit of a bonus for us because normally, you know, we have tapped into that market with the new wind farms that's been happening in the area. So we have been fortunate that we've been able to take on people from that. But generally, nothing really changed, only that we weren't having people here, but maintenance, scheduling, and that was still happening. And because of next year, we are having a 100-year anniversary at Anzac weekend, because it's the closest to when the property was first selected, as well as it would have been Ken's grandfather's 124th birthday, would he have been alive. I'm in the process of writing a book and the history component of that. So it gave me time to sort of get things in order and organise, you know, caterers and bands and things like that.
Oh, how exciting, and congratulations. I mean, keeping the history alive. And I mean, what a busy people you must be. You know, you're running actually the cattle station, but all of a sudden you're now painting and renovating and doing things. How do most people find you, Carolyn?
Exhausting.
Apart from
you mean how do they find us in our? Well, we have a website. We've just built our third new website which we launched last Anzac weekend. And we do some social media. So we've got a Passchendaele Farm Holidays Facebook site. And I have been, when I find the time, to be uploading photos. And I did some shoots the other day of the cottage looking absolutely fabulous and immaculate before the first lot of guests arrived. And it had over 6,000 people view it, which I was absolutely shocked at. And things like, you know, our bonfires around the fire pit and things like that. You know, it's just and it's like you say, we see it every day, so we're part of it. But when you take that to the outside world, and people imagine that they're going to be sitting around a bonfire or up on the hill with the moon coming up, and it's a whole different ball game. So social media has been good. I don't do a lot of Instagram, and we don't have any mobile service here, so that's a real bit of a big problem. And we are on satellite with our web, and that comes, well, with internet in general, and that can, be good on a great day and absolutely shocking on a bad day. So it is difficult to run a business with those sort of hassles, as well as just having a landline phone that can be down for 3 weeks at a time.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes. So we do envisage, we do have quite a bit of technical issues in running any business out here at the moment.
I mean, you didn't need to have COVID on top of telecommunication problems. But honestly, talking about your experiences, sitting around a campfire and the stars, you actually gave me goosebumps. So I can imagine that there are people out there just looking for something that's a totally different experience. They want to get back to country and back to nature.
Right.
So it doesn't surprise me that you got 6,000 hits on a like that.
Well, and one of the things why I wanted to instigate doing farmstay was I had previously worked for the Queensland government in DAF, or what was called the old DPI, for 18 years. And when I did a lot of backpacking around the world and that, there were people that wanted to come to Australia, but I believe that we had something to show people about where their food and fibre came from, and just get down to, how everything evolves in nature, and, with animals and growing. We grow our own vegetables as much as we can, and we grow our own meat and that, and it's all, certified in how it's produced and come back to the table. So it starts from the paddock to the plate, which, we can explain all of that, which people absolutely want to know about.
Oh, look, fantastic, Carolyn. You're really providing, an educational experience for so many people that have taken it for so long, taken it for granted. And, all of a sudden they're starting to pop into, or they were months ago, popping into a supermarket and realising food wasn't there, and then starting to appreciate how our farmers are a critical element to our overall survival and success. Well done. I wish you all the best. I hope the phone does work and it starts ringing off the hook as we're coming. So your school holidays, are you booked out? Or?
Yes, absolutely booked out. We're back-to-back bookings in the homestead, in the cottage, as well as caravanners. So we've got 5 sites that we've set aside for camping as well. So that's booked out. So and what I've done is try to convert the ones that can't get in these school holidays into September, October school holidays. So most of that's booked out. So yeah, it's great that people are back on the roads and making that initial start into getting out and seeing all parts of Queensland.
Oh, wonderful! I'm so thrilled for you, and I wish you every continued success. Thanks, Carolyn. Thank you.
Thanks, Carolyn.
Sally, so what's happening at Howard Smith Wharves now? We've still got restrictions of, I think it's, 1 person per 4 square metres. 4
square metres, yeah.
So what does that look like for you guys? What's happening?
It's pretty exciting at the moment. We're feeling really optimistic now. I think we opened Felons and Mr. Percival's and some of the restaurants over the last 2 weeks, which has been really great. The community have been really keen to get back down. So I guess in the downtime, we had to use a lot of that time to work out how we could open such a large precinct safely for the community and make sure that we were, doing everything right and being very responsible. So what it meant opening in stage 2 was sections of 20. So it was within the 4 square metres. So that's when we opened the doors back up at Felons and Percival's. So there's, if you go down there at the moment, you'll see lots of pink everywhere for all the sections. But there was a lot of work that went in behind that. And I also, like, our HR team and our finance, like our whole shared services have just really been working behind the scenes to make sure, you know, the staff that were stood down were getting care packs throughout the, you know, food boxes and things like that. So there's some really great stories about how they looked after the staff that couldn't actually be there while the operation was hibernating, I guess you could say. But there was a lot going on in the background to reopen. So now that we're there, we've got Felons, Percival's definitely going. We've opened up our weekends on the lawn again, which is one of our outdoor activations, which has been really successful because I think the community feel very safe going to an outdoor space. So that's something that's been received really well. So we just need a little bit of rain to stay away, given we're on the lawn. And then we're gearing up to open up events again. So we're fingers crossed for announcement today. We're hoping for 2 square metres, but let's just see where we go. So yeah, we'll be able to use all of our event spaces again at a very reduced capacity. So the events that have stayed booked, you know, we should be able to deliver in a larger space. But yeah, just a lot of work going on in the background to make sure that we're yeah, doing it safely and very responsibly for the community. But yeah, we've got our first event coming on 17th of July, so we're pretty excited to get everyone back in, and our inquiries actually recovered to around 70% of where we were pre-COVID. So yeah, we're
amazing.
Pretty good. We're feeling really optimistic. We're feeling good. So a lot of work to go, and yeah, day by day, but on the right track.
Just to put people in perspective, what was your staffing situation before COVID?
Including casuals and things, we had around 800 staff.
Yeah, so that's a lot of people to look after. And
Yeah.
So how many do you currently have on now, or is it?
Oh, I didn't get the figures from HR,
Okay.
but yeah, they got everyone that was eligible onto JobKeeper as soon as they could, and then as we could start sort of gearing to reopen, like there was lots of work that needed to be done on the precinct, stock takes and moving things. There was a lot to happen because we closed operation. We pretty much hibernated the whole operation because people love to come and gather at Howard Smith Wharves. It's just what people in Brisbane do. We had to fence off all the parklands and everything just to make sure that it was safe down there. So yeah, the last 6 weeks, 8 weeks, you've seen the operational people coming back on board now with JobKeeper, which has been amazing. But yeah, our shared services and HR teams, they've just done a phenomenal job keeping it all ticking over and looking after the people that couldn't come to work.
So what size is that first event in July? What were you saying?
That one is around 50 people. So
terrific.
Yeah.
So that will give a lot of people out there, and you know, there's a lot of, because you had a lot of corporate, you had a lot of, you know, again, private celebrations, and so are people kind of contacting you for those larger ones, but in advance, or are you just holding bookings for some of those until we work out what we can?
I mean, we've been proactively in contact with all of our clients, so really managing those large ones and seeing where we're at with restrictions and what we may need to do, future dates on hold and things like that. We're seeing the market has shifted a little bit. We were probably 70% corporate. We're seeing the social market really come up now in terms of inquiry and conversion, which is great, which is locals. And I think that's probably a result of being locked away and you know, in lockdown, and also probably not spending your money, and suddenly, you know, I want to celebrate that 40th birthday and, you know, have all my friends. And so I think we're seeing the community now really want to get out there and celebrate being able to. So yeah, it's been interesting to see the little bit of a shift in market, but definitely corporate's still recovering and coming back there, which is good to see.
And I mean, the precinct is so fantastic in the respect that your spaces are so big, you know, or they're so private. So people, you know, I love the fact that you've got those small little breakout areas, those little houses, you know, that can fit just maybe a family, or you've got your big conference rooms. So you've got so much different venues to cater for so many different types of places. Well, Sally, I am so thrilled to have been associated with Howard Smith Wharves. Congratulations again on winning gold at national level for Meetings Industry Association.
Thank you.
And hopefully, you know, into the future, we'll be able to do another, maybe regroup and have another celebration and a glass of champagne.
Yes, absolutely. I look forward to it.
Thanks, Sal. Thank you. Steph, some final words. what are you looking forward to, and what's happening with the opening up of the state? Are people coming back? Are you noticing, you know, people outside the region, or is it purely just locals?
So initially, you know, everything just shut down for us on the 23rd of March, and it was like waking up to a shock. We really didn't know what we were in for. So I guess we've got 4 children, so we had to throw homeschooling into the mix there, which was quite interesting. But we just formed our own little routine, and like Nicole was saying, we sort of enjoyed that family time and just stepping back and looking at what we can do moving forward. And, you know, Adam and I are forever positive. You know, life throws us these amazing things that we just have to deal with. And so, you know, embrace the change. You never know what's around the corner. So we've just, you know, made our way through the business, looking at different things that we can change. And we've done a lot of collaborating. We've always been collaborators anyway, but we've really drawn on that community. What does community want? We've done a lot of social media and marketing campaigns with Townsville Enterprise. We're predominantly a family market, and we have found that, yeah, people just want to get back out and do those amazing, the moments matter, the connections, get back out there and experience those things that really do matter. Everyone's been in lockdown, and you feel like you've got back to basics. I think everyone's had like a refresh and a reconnect, and so we just really want to ride on that and just reconnect people together again.
I love your term, Moments Matter. I think that's a fantastic campaign name. I'd be going out, because I think it just resonates that, you know, those special moments of connections being together. So how has it been for you from a business perspective? Are the school holidays good? Do you have forward bookings? So,
yeah, we've got some forward bookings that have been trickling through. Certainly our southern market, obviously, they can't come across the borders, and they're messaging us saying, we'll be there as soon as we can. We're just waiting for when we can get there. And we've kept all those communications open. They're coming back next year. So if they can't get here this year, they have just transferred. Just schedule us in for next year. So we've got a lot of local people that have probably never done some of these things. They're right here on their doorstep. And that's the really special thing for me, is that we are just awakening people to what really is right here in their backyard and on their doorstep. And I have witnessed it just in our tours in the last couple of weeks. People from Townsville saying, oh gosh, I forgot that there was all this amazing stuff right here. And I just love hearing that. And that gives me such a good feeling moving forward that, yes, this has been a horrible thing that we've all had to go through, but there is always a flip side. And, yeah, we'll just keep moving forward and creating these amazing experiences for everybody.
Oh, Steph, I love your positive attitude. Honestly, with an attitude like that and such passion for your destination, that you're so proud to want to show it off. I know that passion will be translated to any communication that you have with, you know, Townsville locals, or as the Queenslanders start to come up. So fantastic, and congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, there have been some trying moments, believe me, you know, when you're a husband and wife team and you're trying to wear so many hats and trying to keep each other positive but yeah, it's I'm really grateful, you know, I really am grateful to live where I live, and Australia's awesome, Queensland's awesome, we're lucky.
We are so very lucky. We only have to take time to listen to the news of what's happening around us. And in our own little world, we're so blessed. You know, we've got beautiful winter weather in most of our destinations, with the clearest of blue skies. And, you know, as Carolyn was saying before, it's 16 degrees. Well, there are people over in Europe would love a 16-degree day, and that'd be summer, not winter.
Absolutely.
Oh, Well, thank you very much, ladies. I'm going to, before I say a formal, give you an opportunity. Is there anyone wanted to say anything else before we go? If not, I'm going to hand over through to Bindi, and she's going to do a big, quick summary. And then I'll introduce the final guest speakers for next week as well. So Bindi, thank you. Wasn't that an enlightening conversation?
Yeah, I don't know about you, Carolyn, but I want to go to Gollan right now.
Steph sells it. She sure does.
Open arms. We love you.
Look, ladies, every week there's a theme that runs through the conversations that we have with you all. But the things that resonated for me today was obviously lockdown has built that local support. So the locals are loving local again, which is awesome. You're really embracing social media to stay connected with those potential customers, and the bookings are building, which is amazing. I'm hearing from everyone at the moment they can't get in anywhere because everything's booked out in Queensland, which is great. That's excellent to hear. People want to get out. They want to have a holiday. Don't we all? The pandemic has been a good opportunity to regroup and rethink a way forward and to do what you normally wouldn't do or have the time for. Greater connections in the community is another one that we've seen throughout these weekly conversations. So that's great to see. And finding those positives in what's been a really challenging time. I know when it first hit, it was hard to find the positives, but speaking to you all now, you're very positive in light of that. Logistics that go back into reopening, I know are challenging. They're hard work as well, and they're changing all the time. So, again, social distancing in social spaces is constantly changing and things we've got to consider constantly. People want to get out. They want to get out and about, and they want to celebrate this newfound freedom that they've got. So we're seeing people actually getting out on the road and wanting to get down to Howard Smith Wharves. And we're keeping connections and relationships with those who can't quite reach our destination right now. And I think that's really important for when those borders do open. And if the big announcement hasn't happened yet, it's about to happen. So I congratulate you all in being so resilient through this time, and I wish you well.
Lovely. Thanks for that, Bindi. I just love seeing the smiles on everybody's faces. When I first started this 7 weeks ago, there wasn't a lot of smiling happening. So, that positive passion that comes out, particularly from the tourism industry, I just love that. That's what the tourism industry is all about, having inspiring, passionate people that believe in their products, that believe in their destinations, that believe in their community, and can deliver exceptional experiences. As Steph said, those moments matter, and it's even more so the experiences that you have. People are going to be taking those snapshots and going, we're not going to take for granted that we sat on Lady Enid, with Nicole from the Whitsundays, or sat around a campfire with Carolyn from, Passchendaele farm holidays. And looked at those skies and the stars and the never ending. Kirsty from Bundaberg, people are going to, well, you've already said it, the good old Sunday roast is back, and mum and dad don't have to make it. You've enabled that family time where people can just sit, chill and relax and really appreciate those magic moments again. Sally, I again congratulate you and wish you all the best. And I know from a Brisbane point of view, they were hankering for Howard Smith Wharves to once again open up, because it's a real meeting place for families and communities, and walking along the river and having that cup of coffee there. I'll be down this weekend, don't you worry. So I want to say thank you to Nicole Graham, that has Sundowner, and Lady Enid from Whitsundays. I just made mention, Kirsty Rogers from the Windmill Cafe. It's in Bargara, isn't it, Kirsty? Just outside. Yes.
It is in Bargara, yeah.
Bargara, which is just outside of Bundaberg. Carolyn Stone from Passchendaele Farm Holidays, beautiful southern Queensland country. Steph from Aquascene on beautiful Magnetic Island. We're all heading up there, Steph, so make sure you have beds for us all. Sally Pulford again, Howard Smith Wharves. Thank you for Bindi. Before I close, I'd just like to again thank the Queensland Government the Advancing Women in Business initiative allowed me to do the Advancing Women in Tourism program. So I appreciate that. I appreciate all the support that is also provided from our industry associations, the Queensland Tourism Industry Council, Tourism Events Queensland. And next week, we're having our final webinar and podcast. And I'll be delighted to share with you the stories from Karen Davis, who is from the Merry Valley Rattler, which is a great little experience, train ride in Gympie. We've got Alicia Surgeon, who is from Paradise Resort on the Gold Coast, very popular family-based Gold Coast property. We've got Eloise Schaefers, who is from, beautiful Great Keppel Island Hideaway. It really is a little hidden gem just off of Rockhampton. Georgina Woodley is from the Discovery Parks on Fraser Street, which is in Hervey Bay. And it was wonderful when I spoke to her a couple of weeks ago. She said, Kayleen, we're being slammed with bookings. You know, what an exciting thing to be slammed with bookings, but it's a caravan park. So people are hitching up those caravans, got the tent in the car, and they're heading north. So that's exciting. And we also have Zoe Young from the Ohana Winery and Cheeky Diddy Cider. So a beautiful little property just outside of Bundaberg. So looking forward to week 8 guests. Thanking once again week 7 panelists for the Advancing Women in Tourism webinar and podcast series. Thank you again, Bindi, and I really appreciate it. So if anyone wants to share this series in the next day or so, this will be online and you can flick out the link to any of your friends, families, or tourism colleagues. So once again, thank you everybody, wishing you all the best. Commit that passion, go out and showcase the fantastic experiences that you have. I really appreciate you attending today. All the best. Bye.